What's up, everyone? For the past 2.5 years, I've spent over $300,000 on lawyer fees and associated expenses fighting against a stupid, frivolous lawsuit.
Derek Moneyberg has defrauded numerous people, and he does whatever necessary to silence valid criticism.
One of the challenges with exposing fake gurus and fraudsters is always being vulnerable to expensive litigation.
Moneyberg doesn't want anyone exposing his business and sued me to scare others from doing the same. This is what's called a SLAPP lawsuit, or strategic litigation against public participation. John Oliver made an awesome video about SLAPP lawsuits that I'd recommend watching.
My new favorite merch, I made sure to put 0 here because that's how much money's going to be in his bank account after I come for everything, and it's how much freedom he's going to have once the authorities start knocking on his door.
In December 2020, I interviewed a YouTuber named John Anthony Lifestyle. John shared a lot of info about Derek Moneyberg, most notably how Moneyberg didn't create his own courses, had previous arrests, and had numerous victims of his programs. A few months later, on June 21st, 2021, Derek sued me, despite not ever saying anything. I interviewed a credible source. I didn't say anything. On September 29th, 2023, 831 days after I was first sued, the judge finally ruled on my case.
The judge granted our motion for summary judgment. We won on all claims.
Derek Moneyberg is the biggest loser on social media, so him losing this case shouldn't come as a surprise. Before we dive into the legal ramifications, I want to share what I found about this loser. He pays for all of his social media engagement. Here's his YouTube video with 64 views 2 hours after upload, which is how every video performs before the fake views arrive. All of his videos then have between 15,000 and 21,000 views because that's how much he pays for. He paid for his 4.1 million Instagram followers too. All of his Instagram posts have around 50,000 likes and 20 comments by the same accounts. His entire social media is fake, and yet people still fall for his perceived clout. In his videos, he likes to make it seem like he's been featured in all of these huge media publications. All of that is paid for. We even asked him in depositions which publications were paid for and which were not, and he claimed to not remember. Derek likes to throw around media features like Playboy, so my attorney asked him about it. How many times have you been featured by Playboy? Only once, he answered. That's pretty cool being in Playboy. I mean, I presume it wasn't a photo shoot. I presume it was an article about your business acumen. The image of Moneyberg being in a Playboy photo shoot will probably ruin your day, but I thought it was hilarious. Any playmates around Derek would beat the world record of escape velocity with how quickly they leave the room. Future Playmate of the Year right here. As told to me, Derek didn't even create his own courses. He hired people to create them from Investopedia and a couple books, and I very much trust my sources on this one. He charges $5,000 for his real estate course. Watch Bigger Pockets podcast, read any of their books that they release, and watch Pace Morby on YouTube, and you'll learn more about real estate investing for free than Derek Moneyberg could ever teach you in his course from Investopedia and Google. In one of my more popular videos, I uncovered how I found out Moneyberg had committed perjury in my case. Moneyberg claimed to live in a nice house in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, but I contacted the owner and found out that he didn't. He lives in Chicago, Illinois, yet has mail, including his tax returns, sent to a friend's house in Nevada, a zero income tax state. Anybody want to guess why he does that?
I certainly needed a lot of help to win this lawsuit and defeat Derek, and I can't thank my sponsor Aura enough for their continued support of me and my channel and taking the bad guys down on social media.
When I first used Aura, I was impressed and horrified at how much of my personal information it was able to find and how many alerts were being sent my way. By scanning the deepest parts of the dark web, Aura finds and removes your personal information. This prevents scammers and hackers from getting their hands on your stolen passwords, emails, and social security number. I'm sure you've heard the horror stories in the news about identity theft, financial fraud, or getting hacked. I don't want that to be you, which is why Aura has the perfect solution for you and your family. Aura will identify data brokers that are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf, ensuring your digital safety. They'll even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. If you want an all-in-one service that monitors your identity and credit, gives you a VPN, password manager, internet parental controls, and protects your devices from malware, then check out Aura today for a 2-week free trial. If you want to check out a great product that can help you out, go to aura.com/Spencer to start your 2-week free trial by clicking the link in the description below or scanning the QR code. Back to the video. Moneyberg eventually sued John Anthony Lifestyle in Nevada 10 months after my lawsuit. Under oath and penalty of perjury, Moneyberg claimed he lived in Nevada. When caught, he and his attorneys amended the complaint alleging he lived in 11 different places within Nevada. Thankfully, the judge could see through Moneyberg's BS and declared him as not being a Nevada resident. The judge granted John's motion to dismiss. For those unaware, perjury is a serious crime, one that carries a very heavy penalty. If anyone can help me contact the Nevada Attorney General directly, please email me.
I'm going to show you all how to be a millionaire really quickly. I'm going to sell this beautiful shirt for $10, but I'm only going to sell it to all of Moneyberg's victims. I'll be a millionaire within 30 days.
Immediately after John's case was dismissed, Moneyberg filed another lawsuit against him in the state of Wyoming. To any of the parents watching, Derek Moneyberg is the epitome of the terrible twos in an adult. He throws temper tantrums, he shows defiant behavior, and he has an incredible amount of frustration towards anyone who exposes his unethical business. During discovery, we were able to find his arrest records, which includes domestic violence and other run-ins with the law. I also found out a little trick he uses to deceive potential customers. He forces his paid customers to provide a testimonial in order to continue in a $5,000 course they already paid for. Not disclosing this on his sales page is likely breaking advertising law.
If you're counting at home, this guy breaks more laws than a guy featured in a mob documentary on Netflix.
We did win the case, but Moneyberg decided to appeal because his intentions aren't to win this case, it's to burden me with excessive legal fees. That's been his strategy the entire time. Here's the order of the judge granting the motion for summary judgment. Derek made 4 claims in the lawsuit, and the judge ruled in our favor on all 4 claims: the Lanham Act, which is unfair competition, defamation, business disparagement, and emotional distress. He said he suffered from overeating because of my videos on him. This information included a video from a former employee of plaintiffs who corroborated claims about plaintiffs' unethical business practices, and they're using young, unqualified people to write the instructional and promotional material for plaintiffs' courses. Thankfully, it's now on public record that even the judge knows Moneyberg hires unqualified people to create his $5,000 courses. This was a slap suit brought by a multimillionaire who got that way by scamming people out of their money, as defendants reported on. To keep his scam afloat, he sought to stifle anyone who tries to criticize him with what is colloquially referred to as lawfare or a slap suit. To Bushkovsky, a few $100,000 thrown at an underfunded defendant, me, is just the cost of keeping the scam going. As the motion explains, Bushkovsky made frivolous objections during his deposition that required a second deposition, lied about his place of residence, resisted attempts to take follow-up discovery, and resisted consolidation when it was obviously appropriate. Slap lawsuits like this one work because the wealthy criminal is able to scare off anyone looking to properly criticize them because the legal costs are too burdensome.
I want to send a quick thank you to everyone who donated to my GoFundMe from the previous 2 videos about this case. You have no idea how much you all have helped me.
In our motion for fees, we outlined that we should recoup $305,000 in attorney's fees. Unfortunately, the judge denied our anti-slap motion, which would have guaranteed that I recoup my fees. In my opinion, he ruled in such a way that was nearly legally impossible. This was a slap lawsuit and should be ruled as such based on the letter of the law. So, what's next? Moneyberg appealed the summary judgment ruling, and we appealed the anti-slap ruling. We're going to spend the next 4 months briefing the appeals and then await a court date, likely a year from today. This process will probably cost me upwards of $60,000, which is money I don't have. If you'd like to assist with taking this fake guru down, I greatly appreciate it. You guys are also helping me out by watching my videos, so for that, I'm very thankful as well. Moneyberg has damaged so many people with his overpriced programs and fake guru persona. The most often question I get is, will I get my money back? There's 2 pathways. 1, the judge can grant our motion for fees. They will hopefully determine that this frivolous lawsuit should allow the defendant, me, to recoup their fees under the Lanham Act. If our motion isn't granted, then the second option is the appellate court overturns the previous anti-slap ruling.
The anti-slap is the golden option here. If we get that granted, I recoup all of my lawyer fees.
To prevail on an anti-slap motion to dismiss, a defendant must satisfy the first prong through showing by a preponderance of the evidence that the claim is based upon a good faith communication in furtherance of the right to petition or the right to free speech in direct connection with an issue of public concern. This was written by the judge in the order. A few paragraphs later, the judge determined that I didn't act with malice and had no reason to believe any statements in the videos were false, and the videos were of public concern dealing with a public figure. I am very confident that the appellate court will grant the anti-slap ruling because this case literally follows the definition of a slap lawsuit. As long as they apply the law as it's written, then I should win the anti-slap motion. Freedom of speech. A lot of Americans think freedom of speech means you can say whatever you want about someone. That's not true. Freedom of speech means you can express your opinions and not face retaliation from the government. Additionally, if you act with malice and defame someone, you may be found liable for any damages if they decide to sue. How can someone avoid a lawsuit? In America, you cannot avoid lawsuits. Very few people seem to understand this. If someone wants to sue you, they can. And in America, a wealthy person or corporation can weaponize the legal system to silence criticism, just like Moneyberg is doing here. He doesn't want me to share what I know. Slap lawsuits. These types of frivolous lawsuits work because they're so incredibly expensive for the average person to fight against, so people don't stand up and expose the unethical or illegal practices of the wealthy. Derek Moneyberg filed this suit because he doesn't want people to know anything about his past or his victims. Why was this so expensive? There are many reasons, and almost all of them have to do with strategies implemented by Derek to increase the burden of costs. There were over 200 court filings in this case. Attorneys are expensive, and the system is so incredibly overbloated that it would blow your mind if you've never been through a frivolous civil lawsuit. Is Moneyberg actually wealthy? Surprisingly, yes. People do give him a lot of money. The average lifetime value of a customer of his programs is around $15,000. I believe he's had years with revenue as high as $5 million from his course sales. If the judge grants the anti-slap, then him being wealthy is actually very much in my favor because it'll be a lot easier to collect on a judgment. Congrats on winning. The only way I'll actually win this case is if the anti-slap is granted. Spending $350,000 in legal fees to receive a piece of paper saying that what someone I interviewed said wasn't defamatory is not exactly a victory. When will this be over? It'll likely be at least a year before the appeals process is over. It'll cost me at least an additional $50,000 to reach the finish line. I'm still in credit card debt from the previous stage and will be burdened by this next chapter. Thank you. It's been an incredibly challenging year. I've been burnt out on making content for at least 18 months, but I can't take days off because I have legal bills to pay. I'm incredibly thankful for everyone who's watched my videos, everyone who's donated to the GoFundMe, everyone who rooted for me to fail or were ugly towards me, and all of the brands sponsoring videos. Despite the overwhelming challenge this lawsuit has presented me, I will reach the finish line. I will defeat Moneyberg. I will do whatever I can to protect the victims of this fake guru, and I can't wait to actually celebrate in a year when I have a judgment against this fake guru for $350,000. Thanks for watching.